Hey everybody, Charles for HumbleMechanic.com, back with episode 42 of the Humble Mechanic podcast. Today we're going to be talking about something that sort of came up from a show I did a while back about my thoughts on technicians leaving the dealership. And, it seemed to really strike a nerve with you guys. And it was, on the one side, it was nice to know that, I'm not the only one with this on my mind. But then I felt like really bad because there's a lot of techs that seem to be sort of stuck in this weird spot. And after reading all your comments, I felt like I really let you guys down, and I owe you an apology. So I'm sorry. And the reason I'm sorry is I did this entire show about all these things that are wrong or problems or whatnot, and I offered absolutely no solutions. And that's not really the type of person that I am. It was really just me complaining after going back and watching it, and I'm not that guy. So today we're going to talk about solutions. What can we do? What as technicians can we do to overcome this feeling of, we're stuck, or we hate our job, or, there's nothing else we can do besides fix cars? These are my solutions to sort of get out of the funk of, being stuck in a rut or whatever other cliche thing you want to say. First thing I'd like to do is all that negativity, all the things that we know and we see are wrong, and problems with, our dealerships, problems with our industry, problems with our customers, take that and put it up here on the shelf. Just for this show, just put it to the side, all that negativity, because we're not going to worry about that right now. I know there's things that suck. Believe me, I know. But we're not going to get bogged down in that. We are going to get solutions today. Second thing, after we've shelved all that negativity, take a piece of paper and physically write down all the things that are awesome about your job. It's actually something that I did. I'm pointing to my whiteboard, right? You guys can't see it. Physically write them down. When you get stuck in that negativity trap, it's easy to forget that there's a lot of really awesome stuff about being a tech that, other industries don't understand. Other people they can't get it. So I got mine written down, and I'm going to download about 6 of them for you guys. So here we go. I have a 4-day work week. I know not everybody does, but let me tell you how awesome having 5 days off in a row every 3 weeks is. Now, the days are long, but man, those days off are precious, precious, precious days off. Actually, today's one of them, so I love the 4-day work week. I also got 3 weeks of vacation a year. That's huge. Huge. I worked at my last company for 5 or 6 years, and I think only had like a week and a half. It was stupid. So 3 weeks vacation, plus I only work 4 days a week. I think I figured it out one time, and I could take like all but 3 Saturdays off in the year if I used all my time. So really, really awesome schedule. I have a ton of really great customers, people that have become friends of mine at this point. The type of people that, if you told them they need $1,000 worth of work on their car and they had the money, they would do it with no question. Something you could never take advantage of because that's terrible, terrible, terrible business. But that type of person that trusts you wholeheartedly, knows you're there for them, knows you care about their car as much as they do, and the type of person that if you ever left the dealership, they would be right along with you to your next place. And a lot of times, those are the customers that bring you goodies when you work on their car. So I know I've said it a million times, but if you're a customer, bribery works every time. I'm paid really well. So there are days when I feel like I'm super underpaid, and then there's days like a couple of days ago where I flagged 25 hours and absolutely crushed the day. So, it's part of that flat rate ride, but per hour, I'm paid pretty good. And I look back at some of the other jobs that I've had, and my previous job to this was in sporting goods retail. And I was a manager of, 3 or 4 departments, and it sounded like a really cool job. And I look back and I look at the time between the week before Thanksgiving and the week after Christmas. Not only was I there 6 days a week, but I was there 12, 13 hours a day. So I would average about 95 hours a week for that stretch of time. No extra pay. The compensation was in the form of an extra week's vacation that you never got to take because, the store manager got to take his, and you were pretty much at the bottom of the barrel. So I look back at that and I look at where I'm at now, and I got paid like $27,000 a year, which, is better than nothing, but I make a heck of a lot more money than that now. So, I look back and all that hard work that I did then versus all the hard work that I do now, and the compensation is light years different. So, man, I feel for you guys that work in the retail environment. I know how much it can suck. So, that level of suck is one of the reasons that I got the hell out of it. I can buy all the tools that I can afford. Some of you guys that are married know what I'm talking about. If I need something for work, I buy it if I can afford it. I don't have to justify, do I need this $50 tool? Because I do. It's part of my job. It's what I need to make money. It's what I need for my career. So I buy it. And that's awesome. And a lot of us technicians are, kind of tool whores as it is. So the opportunity to buy stuff, sort of an open book to buy tools is a really awesome benefit of the job. I can work on my own car at the shop. I absolutely hate changing oil in my Passat, but I also absolutely hate paying someone else to do it. So, that's a really awesome thing that my shop has, that we can work on our own cars. We can basically do what we need to do to maintain our vehicle. I mean, it's our mode of transportation. It's what we use to get to and from work. And I was reading something today about a dealership or a shop that made the technicians pay to work on their own cars. And let me tell you how stupid that is. And if you are a dealership or a shop owner watching this and you make your techs pay, you are wrong, and you do not deserve to have good technicians. We also have air conditioning in the shop, which in the South is huge. You guys up north may not care about that, but air conditioning when it's 105 degrees with 95 to 100% humidity is amazing. There's probably a ton more. Those are just like the 5 or 6 that I was thinking about while I was writing my notes. My point is with this is take a piece of paper and actually write down all of those things so that you can look at it and go, man, there's a lot of really cool stuff about this job. Next, I want you to set little tiny goals. This is something that I did very early in my career, and it worked really well. It was just that little push to motivate me to do a little bit more, work a little bit harder. So it started out with, I think the Xbox 360 had just come out, or one of the new video game systems, and I was like, man, I really want one. And I could afford it. I could just afford to go to the store and buy it if I wanted to, but I wanted to really feel like I earned it. So I set a goal. I said, the next time I hit 70 hours in a week, I'm going to buy this Xbox or PlayStation or whatever it was. So I waited, I worked my butt off, and that first week I hit 70 hours, I went to the store and I bought myself an Xbox. And it felt really good. It felt good that I knew that I could afford it, but I worked a little bit harder because it was extra, because it was fun. And I got an Xbox. So, that's always really, really awesome. So set those little tiny goals week to week, but also you want to look long term. Where are you going to be at in 3 years? What do you want to do in 3 years? In 3 years, do you want to buy a house? In 3 years, do you want to buy a new car? So if you set that weekly goal, okay, I'm going to buy an Xbox when I hit 70 hours. I'm going to also buy a new, whatever new car at 3 years. So you have that focus, that goal in order to keep pushing through. You always have to remember that no one really should be motivating you other than you, because no one cares as much as you do. No one cares as much about your career. No one cares as much about your paycheck. No one cares as much about the job that you do as you do. And that's really important to remember. I know managers and service managers and general managers of dealerships care about the bottom line, and all that plays into it. But for you personally, you are the one that's going to care about you the most. Which brings me to my next point. You need to focus on you. You need to worry about what you need at your job. You also need to know, how can you get better? So a big concern I read about is guys concerned about warranty times, which warranty times basically, if you're good, you make the time that the job pays on flat rate. So look at what you're doing under warranty. Are you doing all the steps that you need to do? Are your stories good? Can you write a better story and get paid a little bit more? There are always ways to, I don't want to say manipulate, but use the system to your advantage. That was a skill I developed very early on in my career, that I could write a story and it was all factual, but I would go just a little bit further than anyone else would to write a proper story. And I always got paid more for it. So do those little things like analyze what's going on with your warranty time. Are you doing all the steps? Are you looking over cars properly? Are you checking the brakes, belts, hoses, and tires on every single car that you work on? Most dealerships make you do it anyway. It's part of the process. But if you're not, you could be missing out. You can miss a really important safety thing, or a customer that's got a torn wiper blade. That may not be a big deal, but It's something else. It's something to build your credibility. It's something to go to a customer and say, hey, you have a torn wiper blade. Would you like me to replace that for you? Always be thinking how you can tweak your game. How can you fine tune your game? And it could be something as simple as, instead of pulling the car right in the shop, you swing it around the building twice. Instead of waiting to set the reset the maintenance reminder, you do it right when you get in the car before it comes in the shop. That's something that I do because I know undoubtedly I will forget to reset it if I don't do it immediately. So think, how can I tweak my game? How can I just, if you're at 9, how can I go to 9.01? Because that's better. That's you getting better. And that feels good. It feels good to improve. You can also do like really seemingly dumb things, but I'm telling you they help. The one that I always do, and I'm surprised no one at the shop has figured this out, anytime like I'm in a really bad spot, I rearrange my toolbox, or I clean it, or I throw a bunch of stuff away. It's sort of that refresh. It's like spring cleaning. You organize your stuff and then you shift it around a little bit, especially the things you don't use every day, because we definitely don't want to affect our efficiency. But let's say you have a drawer of wires. What if you organize those wires? Let's say you have a drawer of tools you use when a bolt breaks or you need your rethread kits. Shift that stuff around because it's not something you use every day. It feels good to put your hands on the stuff you've purchased, but maybe don't use every day. Go through all your old parts. I got a bottom drawer of my toolbox. Heck, the bottom drawer of this toolbox right here is full of Volkswagen parts. Go through it and look at it and see, is there anything I don't need? Or, man, I'm never going to throw this stuff away because the day I do, someone will need it. It sort of switches your brain from all this negativity to focusing on one task and completing the task. And that feels good. It feels good to finish a task. Think about that big job, that last big job that you had. Whether it was gravy work and you hustled through it, or it was a really crappy thing like rebuilding a transmission or replacing an engine under warranty. When you were done, even if the job was bad, there's a sense of satisfaction. Try and harness that and embrace it and use that in other portions of your daily routine. So that's one thing, that cleaning your toolbox, it helps. Something I wish I did more of. Also, never forget that there's going to be a time where it's time to leave. We talked about all this really positive stuff and all these things that you can do to, get your brain back on the right track. But there's a time where it's going to be time to leave. And, it may be going to an aftermarket shop. It may be trying to get a job in the corporate office or as a QTM or as a product engineer or as a product analysis person or, I don't know. I said in the last show, I didn't know what the next step is, and I still don't know. I don't know what my next step is. I surely can't know what your next step is. But what might be a really good idea is, just like you wrote down all the things that are really awesome about your job, write down a bunch of things that if the world were perfect and I could wave a magic wand for you and say, hey, Joe, I'm going to wave this wand for you and you can have whatever you want. Just tell me what it would look like. Write it down and then maybe work towards it. Or go, after you write it down, you might look at it and go, wow, that's really dumb and I would hate that. Early on, I loved the idea of being a QTM, which is like a regional technical guy. And the more I look at it, I'm like, wow, do I really want to do that? It's a lot of travel. You're dealing with the worst of the worst of the worst. But I also have flat rate completely on my mind. So I'm thinking of these in the world of also earning a paycheck on flat rate. And those two worlds aren't the same world. So maybe a QTM would be a next great step. So after you've written down all the things that are really awesome about your job, write down all the things that, in a perfect world, you would want to see. And remember, if it's time to go, it's time to go, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. Sure, people are going to be mad at you. Sure, people are going to be let down. People are going to feel like, you were such a good part of the team that they hate that you're gone, but you got to do what's right for you. Again, no one cares as much about you as you do. Now, whether that's going to another dealership, another brand, an aftermarket shop, sometimes that little bit of change is really important and really does help. Don't get caught up in the fact that the next place you go is going to be perfect, because that old, again, cliche about the grass being greener on the other side. Well, it's just a different brand of fertilizer, if you get what I'm saying. So every job has problems. Even owning your own business has a ton of challenges. And I think anybody that runs their own business will be more than happy to tell you it's hard. It's not like being an employee. It's different, but there's a satisfaction that you won't get being an employee. I guess what it all boils down to in the day-to-day, try and push out the noise of what's going on around you. Try and push out the noise of the idiot next door to you that can't diagnose a car for anything, or the service manager yelling at you because your hours are down by 1%, which is completely irrelevant. Push all that aside, focus on you getting better, focus on you learning. All the rest of the pieces are going to fall into place. All right, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. I feel like I've kind of downloaded a bunch of solutions for you guys. So here's what I'd like from you. Post your solutions in the comments section below. Heck, if it makes you feel any better, put all those awesome things about your job in the comments. I know I said put it on a piece of paper, but hey, writing it on the internet's the same thing, isn't it? But that can help all of us sort of see what's out there and what's going on. And, my struggle may look like someone else's no big deal, and my no big deal may be something that someone else is struggling with. So go ahead and throw that down in the comments section. If you like the video, throw it a thumbs up on YouTube. I always appreciate that. Don't forget you can subscribe on YouTube or on the blog. You can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the blog, HumbleMechanic.com, and obviously on YouTube. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.